tell you something I could do. I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive, life. If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. No, you didn't know me, all you wanted was a game to play, and you couldn't handle that I had my ways. About your mind tricks and your side chicks, I'm a winner, babe. No, you didn't win this, it's a part of the game. In the beginning, I just didn't know.
In this moment, yes, I cannot say what's wrong or right. No, it's not hard to fool me. No, 'cause I'm addicted to the good life. Yes, yeah. Lead the way, I follow. No need to say. Where we are heading now, babe, I follow to the edge of it all, to the edge of it all. So tell your good lies, 'cause I'll buy no matter what, yeah. Susceptible now, before the moment flies. Ooh, so tell your good lies, 'cause I'll buy no matter what. Ooh, susceptible now, before the moment flies. It's not a problem, no, 'cause I know what I'm getting into. Yes, yeah, and nothing can stop me. No, 'cause I'm addicted to what you and I realize. Lead the way.
This is the other.
I follow. No need to say. Where we are heading now, babe, I follow.
Thank you.
Edge of it all. So tell your good lies, 'cause I'll buy no matter what, yeah. Susceptible now,
Thank you.
Do the calls for some call.
moment flies, before it flies. So tell your good lies, 'cause I'll buy no matter what.
Hello. Uh-oh. Ooh. Hello. Okay, no, we don't want that.
Hello. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. Test, test. All right. Where we at? Okay. We back at it again. Let me see if we. Okay. There we go. So we just gonna get into it. We're gonna cut the music on here. We're gonna come over here. So what's going on, people? We back at it again with another live stream. It's a little janky right now because I'm testing some things out. And the only way to test things out is to actually go live. It looks like my mic is coming in loud. Let me see. Let me see how we're gonna bring this down just a little bit. Let's see. Test, 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 test. Okay. Let's see. Let me just see why this is coming. Oh, I know why. That is the HDMI. So we're gonna kill the audio on the HDMI. Perfect. Okay. So we good now. So the reason why I'm showing you guys what I got going on right now is onefold. I have this mixer here, and I don't know why I did that. Let's see. We're just gonna shrink that over here, and it just automatically changed the output now. So I don't know why I did that. We're gonna change it over here. Just kind of just doing whatever. Okay. All right. So we're just testing some things out. So I'm live. I wanted to kind of talk about what happened after the election. I also want to talk about, kind of just wanted to show you the new mixer that I got because it's a whole lot of tech, a whole lot of hardware, and I hope it's coming through on the mixer. Okay, that's the stream mix. Okay. Okay, yeah. So got a lot going on, got a lot of tech going on. So I wanted to kind of just start and talking to you guys about the mixer that I have here. So, like I said in the last stream, I replaced my Go XLR with the. We're going to the music. Okay, that's the music. Okay. I'm going to turn it down on my headphones. All right. Yes, this is the new mixer. It's called the Roland Bridge Cast X. It has a capture card, which is why I plugged in my GoPro. So the GoPro that I don't know why I keep doing that. So the GoPro that I have right now is the GoPro 5. And it's an older GoPro. So it kind of is not really, the way it works is that it works better when I have it plugged into my computer power so it doesn't cut off. This is when I used to do my overhead shots if you've been around for a long time. So I used to do my overhead shots with the GoPro. And I connected it into a capture card, but when I was looking for a replacement for the Go XLR, I realized that the new mixers now, part of the next generation of mixers for streamers and content creators, is that now the mixers have multiple inputs and outputs and video capture card capabilities. So with that being said, I decided to get a mixer that has a built-in capture card, right? So there's a lot of options. The Rodecaster Duo and the Rodecaster Pro 2 does not have those capabilities. So I kind of X those out, right? So I went with the Roland Bridge Cast X. So it can output 60 hertz. It's a good capture card. My problem is the software is a little janky, but it just takes time to get used to new hardware that's advanced like this, right? So I just wanted to have the overhead to show you and to test it out to see how it works, because I'll probably have to get a new GoPro, a more modern GoPro, to work with the Bridgecast X, because it's doing this thing as you can see here. It's constantly clicking in and out, right? Well, I just wanted to leave it up on the stream to test it. 'Cause the only way to test things is to do it live. So we're not doing any professional commentary at this moment. I'm really just doing this live to talk and to test this stuff out, right? So, and I kind of just want to show you, what this looks like while I'm streaming with it, right? So it has a lot of, it can control the stream mix from here with this dial. So as I turn this up, you'll hear the music come on, right? And the best thing about features like this, it has the sub mix, right? So I can hear how the stream mix sounds, and then I can turn it down like that, right? And I can connect the stream mix. And I can also just control the stream mix from here. So I can just simply control what the stream comes out, what comes out the stream, just like this, without it coming into my headphones. So what that allows me to do is, we're going on Club Fortune. So what that allows me to do is, like, say I want the music to be loud in my ears, and I just want it to be real low for you guys. Or if I want to turn it down in my ears and play the music up here, right? Turn it down like that. And this dial also controls the audio for the stream mix overall. And I can turn it up like that. And I can kill the audio altogether from here. And I can control it like that. And then it has these 4 audio channels, and it has 4 more audio channels, virtual audio channels, that I can stream things in and out. When I started the stream, you heard like the hissing sound, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So it also can output the audio from the HDMI capture card as well. So I turned on the HDMI capture card because it's giving out the hissing audio, and no one needs to hear that. So that's the gist of what, I'm showing you guys here on screen. So I'll touch back to this a little bit later when I decide. So what I wanted to talk about, and what I'll do is I'll kill this over here. I'll just leave it there. We're fine. We're testing everything out, so we'll just leave it as it is. So anyway, I wanted to talk about the election. And what I wanted to talk about was how podcasters kind of predicted the election, and how pollsters really kind of got the election wrong, right? And this is just from an observational standpoint. I'm not getting into any policies, anything like that, right? We're gonna stay out of that. And I want to show you. We're gonna come back and we're gonna show you the Shannon Sharp thing again. We're gonna show you the Shannon Sharp thing again, and we're gonna kill that over here. And the reason why I'm gonna show you the Shannon Sharp thing, and again, I'm testing this out on vertical as well, so the vertical looks terrible, but I'm simply testing things out, so it is what it is. But the reason why I come to that conclusion is that, again, we're just going to take a look at the comment section of the Shannon Sharp podcast, right? And in the Shannon Sharp podcast, the total dislikes on Chrome is like 198,000 dislikes, okay? Now, the reason why that's so important, again, from when I last discussed this yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I think it was this demographic of Shannon Sharp is really highly targeted towards African Americans, right? Black African Americans, men and women. And if you were to go look at the presidential election that we just had, and if you can, I don't have the one up where it shows you the demographics. Let me see. Okay. So I don't have the demographics in front of me. What I would like to do is I would like to find the demographics. And I just want to show you the demographics real quick. Now I have this as an image, but I don't have the image up in front of me. and it cut off. So we're gonna turn it back on a little bit later, so we don't need to. Let's see. This is an image. I want to see the image that people's been sharing around. If I can find it. Let me see something. Okay, we can't find it. Give me a second. I'm trying to find it. Let's see. Let me just do this. Let's see. Bear with me. I'm actually looking for the graphic. Found it. It just takes some time. Okay. So here's the demographics, right? Now this is a graphic that people are like sharing a lot, and you know, a lot of people are upset. The one thing that I want people to look at, let's see, and these are the exit polls. The exit polls are not results, but instead look at the thinking and motives. Black race, black men, black women. Okay, we'll take this one out. Okay, here we go. So the most popular polling graphic, these are exit polls, but these give you a sense of who they voted for. Okay, so these are the exit polls, and the reason why I'm highlighting the whole Shannon Sharpe thing is that if you look here by sex by race, and if you were to look right here, you have a 5% poll from 5% of men, 7% of women, whatever, right? So if we look at this number right here, this 77% of black men voted Democrat, 91% of black women voted Democrat, okay? This is 21% of black men voted Republican, and 7% of women voted Republican, okay? So keep that in mind when I come back to the Shannon Sharpe interview. So let's just say that if you're looking at, like, if you're kind of looking at podcasters and the results of these interviews with these candidates, let's say Shannon Sharpe is 100%, both almost 90% black demographic between men and women. When you look at this comment section and the results and the feedback of this interview, right? The one thing you could kind of come to sense about is that it's interesting because you're looking at all these people and they're just pretty much banging on Kamala Harris. Even after the election, they come to the comment section just to laugh at her. And then you come to these exit polls. And then you say, well, 91% of black women voted Democrat. 77% of black men voted Democrat. And there's like about 28% between men and women that voted Republican, right? So if you're looking at polls, you're like, well, the polls said that they're tied, right? The polls say that they're tied. You know, you don't know what's going to happen. Then you come over here, right? And then you look at the, let me see if they can pull up the popular vote. See, this is terrible. They don't even show you the popular vote. Let me see. I believe the popular vote has them at 70 million right now, right? Okay. So the popular vote has them around 70 million, okay? So you look at these results and you're kind of trying to figure out, it says, okay, so the pollsters, like these guys, so we're gonna come off the Shay thing real quick. So the pollsters, I'm gonna show you a podcast with the poster. So this is the two-way. So this is like offering live, interactive, independent platform where unbiased, anyway, blah 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 blah. So these guys right here.
Where the campaign.
So that's Byron Donald. So this guy's a pollster. They got Sean Spicer. These guys are all pollsters, right? So when you watch like content, you're looking at people looking at polls, going over poll results, going over the data. The data said everything was pretty much tied. It could go either way. It's a toss-up. Everything's a tie. So then you're looking at the polls saying it's tied. Then the election happened, and it's kind of a landslide, right? So what I'm trying to pinpoint is that independent content creators, podcasters that cover these election topics, they're going to be a great way to test the temperature for the political climate going forward, because pollsters, right? When you come here and you look at the pollsters were saying everything was pretty much tied, right? We got 1%. We got Trump took this by about 1%. 1%. That's about 2%. Right? That looks like almost about 3%. That's like almost 10% right there. And then if you look around the race, it wasn't really that close, right? So when it comes to coming back to these, independent content creators, people who are actually talking to these candidates, you get to kind of get a sample of what people actually are thinking, right? When you look at these comment section and how people feel about these candidates, right? Because these are actual, not all of these people in these comment sections or that are replying, interacting with this content are bots. These are real people. And these podcasters and these independent content creators are eventually going to replace what the mainstream media is, and the mainstream media is even going to lose more of an audience because people are going to come to platforms like this on YouTube, X, TikTok, Twitch, Kick, whatever, to kind of get a sample of what a candidate is actually about, right? And I'm going to show you an example of why the mainstream media is going to lose these people going forward for the general election into the next general election, right? And it's something for you to keep an eye on. So this is Vigilant Fox. I like Vigilant Fox because
for the right to
I like Vigilant Fox because he's a good aggregator of content clips for me, so I don't have to watch these things, right? So this is a clip from MSNBC, right? And this is Lawrence O'Donnell, right? So MSNBC is called MSDNC, right? It's a joke, but it's actually true. And just for 51 seconds, listen to what this guy says. And I know we've all, pretty much everyone's seen all these clips before, but I want to show you this clip.
Frederick Douglass would be so proud and admire. Frederick Douglass would be so proud and admiring of Kamala Harris. He did not just fight for the right to vote for black men when only white men could vote. He also fought for the right to vote for all women. When he was editor of the newspaper, The North Star, Frederick Douglass wrote, "We hold woman to be justly entitled to all we claim for man." That was a very unpopular opinion among white men in this country at that time, and it remains an unpopular opinion among some white men in this country to this day. It may be that not enough people in this country yet believe in the full equality of women to elect a woman president of the United States.
Okay, so there you go. So that's the notion that she lost because white men are racist, right? And again, that's me saying that, and that's not me excluding saying that there may be white men who didn't want it because they didn't want to vote for a black woman. But that's kind of giving you a sample of how the media is spinning what just happened, right? So if you go to Vigilant Fox, and he has all kinds of clips like this, and I kind of now here we go, more MSNBC shaming.
I'm so proud of her. I don't think people realize how hard it is to get to where she was.
Again, more tears, more tears.
As a woman, getting elected DA, it's not easy, guys. People don't trust women to be in charge of making decisions about life and death and crime and being, frankly, a supervisor in some ways over police. Her fighting through the primary thicket of California politics to become Attorney General, really hard. I mean, this is really hard stuff. For her to be selected as vice president after what I think she would tell you was a very disappointing presidential race, where I think she kind of lost her footing and was listening too much to consultants, frankly, and it didn't really exude who she was. And then to be vice president and to step into the most difficult situation in the world, where she had to be completely loyal to Joe Biden and respectful of the fact that he had chosen her, but yet maneuver in a situation, I mean, such political skill. It is just inspiring. People who don't understand.
Wait a minute. Club Fortune said the Wobulance. That's a fucking good one. I've never seen that one before. I'm going to use that. The Wobulance. That's hilarious.
What she had to do to get to this moment. And so I'm just very proud of her.
Again, like, you know, all the tears, all the crying, right? You know, we got all the crying, all the tears, all the crying. Again, we're going to come to The View, and you're going to hear the same shit on The View, right?
So. And
I'm playing these clips to kind of, so you can kind of get the point that I'm trying to make, and I'm going to tie it back into what I was saying earlier.
How you feel? I'll start. Yeah, go ahead. My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made, but I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which
it's not a good clip. It's this.
Went to listen to the voters.
Here we go.
I've always thought he could win. I thought in the final stretch she might eke it out. I didn't expect it to be this resounding, and I think there are some lessons from it. I think we forget about rural America. I think the working class feels left behind. They feel like the powerful, the elite only care about them and their power. And he spoke to them. We may not have liked his words, but they turned out for him. I mean, the map was, it was beyond Reagan what we saw last night. And I think we need to start listening more about the concerns of everyday Americans who feel like this.
Now, this is during the same segment.
I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was America makes a perilous choice. I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country, because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons. Well, and so that box better be taken off. And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that he's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I'm surprised at the results, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country. Well,
Again, like, more racism, people are racist. They don't like us because we black, all that stuff, right? Let's see.
Think about this. She did this in 2 months.
Yeah, no.
She did this in 2 months.
She left it all on the field.
Yes,
she
look,
did.
she everybody can always say, oh, she should have done this, she should have done this, she did what she did. She was everywhere, she talked to everybody, and people didn't come out. I don't know why, and it doesn't even matter. He's now the president. I'm still...
Key point right there. Pause. You don't know why, right? You don't know why. Let's hear Mark Halperin and Sean Spicer and these guys. Let me see if they...
Your vote, your kind of theory of the case, it's great, and it stings when you're on the other side. Like it's the president from now till January
campaign for and supposedly help.
Now, the best part about this platform is that you actually have real people sharing their thoughts and opinions, right? And so we're going to play a little bit about this so you can actually kind of hear how real people kind of felt about it from the platform of independent podcasters, and we can juxtapose that against what the mainstream media is constantly saying. So remember, Whoopi says it wasn't about policies, right? So we're going to come here.
Those people, these are the people who are left answering questions, and I think that's terrible. But I guess my question that I have for you guys is, do you think, because you just mentioned Joe Biden, he's still the president. Do you think that with some of the narratives already coming out that he is potentially one of the big reasons why Harris lost this election? Do you think that he may try to salvage his legacy with a rash of executive orders before he leaves office?
Okay. Alexander, thank you for...
This isn't a good one. Let me find another one.
At certain hours. As you...
For me, I'm not Jewish. I don't know anyone in Israel.
There we go.
Watching what's been going on with anti-Semitism in our country and watching Kamala Harris and Biden refuse to even meet with Jewish students who have been begging to after 4 years of social justice outcry for every other minority group in this country, it's disgusting to me. And then last thing, I'm just really inspired by all the people around Trump. Like that final video that you guys showed last night, like that actually made me emotional and hopeful about politics for the first time. But I'm very pessimistic. I'm very worried that the polls are undercounting Harris like they undercounted Trump in 2016. So I guess that would be my question.
Perfect. I'm so glad I found this clip right here. So this is an actual person who's saying that they don't trust the polls, that they're undercounting Harris, right? Great. Let's go back and let's see how much they undercounted Harris. Again, you have the battleground states 2 points, right? And Harris was done by like 8 o'clock, by like 9 o'clock with Pennsylvania, right? Almost lost Virginia, 3 points, almost 10 points South Carolina, almost close to, that's like 2 points in Georgia. Come all the way over here to Wisconsin. A point, about point and a half. Point and a half. The Iowa poll came out, said that she was up by 9 in Iowa, so that was fraudulent. Almost lost Minnesota, and she was tied in Arizona, probably going to lose this by maybe 6 or 7. Was tied in Nevada, almost lost, pretty much lost it around 6 or 7. Was going on Big Pontiac. So you're looking at the polls. You saw the polls. We all saw the polls. Polls said it was tied, close race. You don't know which way it'll go. Electoral College says that was a lie. It's over. It was a landslide. When these people get their shit together, it'll probably be around 300 electoral votes. 300 electoral votes in a presidential election is what you call a landslide win. When you look at, and I wish I can find it. Let me see something. When you look at the competitive states, right? All the competitive states were pretty much within reach or out of reach entirely, right? Now, I don't have access to the difference. Let me see something. Let's come here. Okay, so it doesn't really show you the difference in the state from the last election, and it shows you how much the country shifted, right? So pretty much the country shifted entirely, right? We're going to come back over here and we're just going to fix that. Okay. So pretty much what the poll showed is that the country shifted entirely to the right. Okay. The country shifted in the right, so much so that the pollsters going into 2022 and 2028 are going to have a lot to answer for, right? And let me see where that window popped up at. Pollsters are going to have a lot to answer for going into the next election cycle, because the independent podcasters pretty much kind of knew where the election was going, because they're not connected to the mainstream media and they're not connected to the corporate apparatus, right? And the reason that I would love to show, let me see something. Let's do this guy. And I'm not only going to show Republican kind of conservative channels, I want to show liberal channels too. I just want to.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics.
We're dealing with a little bit of technical
like
stuff right here, so just bear with me.
If you are new. So Donald Trump
come over
currently
here.
leading Kamala Harris nationally.
There we go.
That is not in, a swing state. That is nationally. The popular vote, which Donald Trump has never won, which no Republican has won since 2004, and before that, it was 1988. However, it's important to understand that Donald Trump can lose the popular vote, and he can win the Electoral College, as he did in 2016. And there is a bias in the Electoral College. People are going to debate if that's going to shrink, but it's very evident that if the popular vote is going to at all go to Donald Trump, or even if it's like under 1 point.
So what I want to show you right here is these are what the polls look like before the election, okay? And again, forgive me for the, the technical stuff. We going through some things with the technical shit, so I'm working through it, y'all. That's all I can say. But anyway, so this is pretty much the polling for the final week, right?
Most people agree it's
and this is a guy that goes through all the polls. And as you can see, this is pretty much what all the polls are looking like, right? Polls were saying 0.8, 0.4, less than a point, right? Less than a point between the margin and average. It's a tight race. It can go landslide. It can go close election. We don't know what's going to happen, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but we have an idea. We're looking at the leads. All of Trump was leading all up until the election, right? And these are what the independent content creators were showing. Again, we can come back to these people. Okay, we can come back to these people. And you can see the disconnect with actual information based on their rhetoric.
They should be teaching that in this country.
Yeah.
Teach children. Finland, kids in nursery school are learning to discern between fake news and real news. They should be teaching that in this country. Teach children tolerance, teach them to think critically.
Well, it would help if we could regulate social media, because one of the biggest offenders is D.C. and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of social media.
It's not gonna get any better with Elon Musk now in the administration.
Fascinating stuff, right? Fascinating stuff, right? Because if we remember the Twitter files, right? If we remember the Twitter files, Twitter had direct control with the Biden administration. Biden administration had direct control over Twitter. So much so that they had a back channel program directly linked to the Biden administration, where the Biden administration can point out people that needed to be banned on Twitter. Fascinating stuff that goes to show you the huge disconnect between what we're seeing and their bubble, right? Here come the bitches from The View. Miserable women. Miserable women. I'm telling you, right? Miserable women, man. Miserable women, right? Nothing but gaslighting. They were grilling, and I'm so glad you pointed it out. Just because you pointed that out, what I would like to do is, I'm gonna go. We're gonna kill this. Yeah, if y'all can understand the type of shit that I'm doing right here just to do the stream, y'all be like, man, TLB, you a bad motherfucker, right? What I want to do is, I would like to go into my vault right now to show you the Twitter files, right? I would like to show you the Twitter files. In the documents you're about to read, however, it's also the assessment. And we're gonna play my video on the Twitter file so you can see how rogue the media was, the social this platform was before Elon Musk took over it, right? And this is my content. Of multiple current and high level executives. Okay, there were more throat clearing. Like I said, at least to pretend to care for the next 20 days. And that was the 20 days. Like I said, Kayleigh McEnany has been locked out of her account for simply talking about the New York Post story, which was the Hunter Biden story. All she did was cite the story in first-hand reporting that has been reported by other outlets and not disputed by the Biden campaign. I need an answer immediately on when/how she will be unlocked. I also don't appreciate how nobody on this team called me regarding this news that you'll be censoring news articles. Like I said, at least pretend to care for the next 20 days. Said, at least to pretend to care for the next 20 days. And that was the 20-day basis for making this as unsafe. So what I'm going to do for you guys too, I'm just going to put this in the hold on, bro. Basics by outsiders, to wit. In one humorous exchange on day one, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna reaches out to Gaddy to gently suggest she hop on the phone to talk about the backlash re-speech. Khanna was the only Democrat official I could find in the materials. The press secretary's account was not permanently suspended. We requested that she delete the tweet containing material that is in violation of our rules. The story now has become more about censorship than relatively innocuous emails, and it's become a bigger deal than it would have been. The Streisand effect. It also, none of this is new to me, but this is good for other people to see how deep this actually goes, and that it's not really a conspiracy. And that's just a sample, right? I covered the Twitter files in depth. I covered the Twitter files, all the releasing and all the information that released on the Twitter files. I covered all the information. Let's come back again. With whether to punish users who share screenshots of Trump deleted January 6 tweets. We should bounce these tweets with a single strike. No, I'm saying something that's not even there. We should bounce these tweets with a strike given the screenshot violates the policy. They are criticizing Trump, so I'm a bit hesitant with applying strikes to this user. Okay, fuck off. Oh my God, even Twitter says it's inciting violence. And his, like, they're literally dictating what is and what is not. Like, you can't speak about it, and we have to figure out if you're sharing it is to provide commentary or you agreeing with it. Like, that's not your job as a platform. Account to say any violation would result in suspension.
Okay, right. So I just wanted to show you that. So when you see these clips of people saying that they want a control of the media, you can see how much bullshit that is, right? So now we're gonna come to a liberal, progressive commentary content, and then we're gonna see their understanding of the polls.
Good afternoon, Sam and Emma.
John, good to hear from you. Now,
2020, 2016, 1976, 1968, 1960, and 1948. Every other presidential election has been have been blowouts in the Electoral College. Right now, the three closest consecutive elections are the 2000, 2004, and 2008 elections. If the winner of today's election wins with 311 electoral votes or less, the 2016, 2020, and 2024 elections will be the three closest elections in the history of the country. All of the picks in the 7 swing states are toss-ups and could go either way. I've gone back and forth on many of these picks, and I've never felt as little confidence in my picks as I feel today. I have Harris winning with
whoa, wait a second. Really? That's scary.
Well, I'm just trying to be Republican. Bernie Moreno beating Democrat Sherrod Brown by 0.8.
The congressional districts?
I don't think Harris is going to win Iowa. I mean, it's just...
Well, but I mean, if she comes in... Well, the problem with that is, like, is it just a function of that 6-week abortion ban? Is that why, I mean, if she comes within even like a couple of points, that's crazy.
Like Trump they released the internal that they say they have him at +5 in Iowa. That's still an awful result for him.
Let's see. Was it +5 in Iowa? Let's look. Trump plus over 5. Okay? Trump took Iowa 55.9 versus 42.7. That's not +5. That looks like close to the original +10 that he was stated to win. That's over 10, right? So he was stated to win already by 10. Pollsters said that he was only going to win it by 5. Key example right there, right? Now, again, I'm not a pollster data analytics guy. The only reason why I'm showing this is to pretty much show that going forward after this election, independent content creators are going to provide a better level of information to people who are interested in what's actually going to happen in elections, right? Because if you were to look on, let's say, CBS, NBC, CNN, the numbers that they were giving you were slowly, it's tight. She's gonna win. He may lose this state. He may lose that state. It wasn't the case. Okay, it wasn't the case. If you back out, he took pretty much, these are all the competitive states, and these are all what's considered the battleground. The Rust Belt, he took all the Rust Belt. He took all the battleground states. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, things have definitely moved towards Harris. I mean, like last week when I called in, 5 out of 7 aggregators had Trump winning. Right now, only one of those 7 aggregators has Trump winning. I mean, so it's been a complete shift.
What do you think accounts for that?
I just think the polling in general. I mean, you know, some of the later polls that came out.
No, but I'm saying I understand why the aggregation would move. But what do you think accounts for the change in polls, or is it really just like there hasn't been a change, a dramatic change in the cohort of polls that are most important, or are doing it, because if let's say this, I'm putting out a fake, I don't want to say fake, but if I'm putting out a poll that, a Republican poll that is sort of manipulated to enhance Republican numbers, and I'm, I'm flooding the zone with these things to impact the aggregate, I'm not going to do that in the last week of the election because so many people have already voted. It's almost like we have winnowed out some of the more junky polls.
Well, I don't think it's winnowed out. I think that the people who actually have objective polls, are more prone to do the polls closer to the election day.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, we got the gist, right? Now, these guys, majority report, they're liberal, progressive, Trump, fascist, racist, the usual shit, right?
We need to have some time.
Biden would win by bigger margins because there's always going to be this quiet Trump support. I think that was more a function of the pandemic. And I think that's what they're going to get wrong. But really, at the end of the day, is like, it's not just that Trump closed poorly. It's that women are pissed. And there are going to be a lot of, in my view, older women that see the rights of their daughters and granddaughters.
Excellent. Let's look at the national polls. I'm glad you said that. Let's look at the age group. 65 and over split 49% down the middle, straight down the middle. 45 to 64 lean Trump. 30 to 44 split down the middle. 18 to 29 lean Democrat, right? Let's look at women. White women, 45% to 53%. Let's go back down to age again. Okay? Between 49 and 40 and 49, 50%. 50 to 64, 56%. 65 and over, split down the middle. Let's look at women now. She said older women. We'll say older women will be between 45 and 65, right? No offense to anybody. 49 to 50% average advantage Trump. Women 65 plus, 54% Dem, 45% Republican. Let's look at middle-aged to younger women, 30 to 44, 54% Kamala, 43% Trump. Women 18 to 29, 61% Kamala, 37% Trump, right? So when you look at it by gender, right? She was somewhat right? Like older women did come out and vote Trump, but not by that big of a margin. That's 10. That's a let's look like 11, right? That's 11. Same thing here. That's 1%. This is that key demographic of older women that killed her. Split down the middle, 1%. That's not a lot of women coming out to support him, right? This is what the polls are telling these people, right? And that's not what happened. Okay? Again, you look at race, look at white, 65%, 55 advantage Trump, 45 to 64, 62% advantage Trump. That's killer right here. That's a killer margin. That's a killer margin, right? That's a killer margin right there. That's what cost her. That's what kind of cost her. That's one of the reasons that cost her, right? Let's come look at the black people, right? Black people, overwhelmingly 80% among 18 to 29, 82% 30 to 44, over 83%, 45 to 64, over 93%, 65 plus. Trump averaged around 15% over the total age demographics of voting people in the black community, and she still lost. Okay, let's look at Latinos. I don't even got to look at Latinos are split. You know how they vote? They split. Others split 2% margin. Okay, so when you come back to these people and they read all the polls, they're making these opinions based on the polls that they're seeing. The exit polls say different. This is what the exit polls say. Exit polls said that she's losing. She's losing amongst whites. She's losing amongst Latinos. She's losing amongst men, terrible numbers amongst men. The age range, right? Let's go back to age, right? You're not winning by that much against age, and you're splitting the margins pretty much right here with this 65 demographic, right? See, to the Izzo, not guilty. You got to feel what's going on, Nick. So when you listen to these people,
daughters slipping away that are Republican women and independent women that will be the deciding factor in this election. So I posted my map on Sunday, I think. I think she sweeps all swing states.
Did she sweep all swing states? Let's check a look. No, she didn't actually. She lost all the swing states actually by reasonable margins. Pennsylvania was a huge loss. Technically, Pennsylvania was done by 10 o'clock. To be honest with you, that Pennsylvania was done by like 10 o'clock. To be fair, lost Georgia, almost lost Virginia, almost lost Virginia too. Okay, this is what the polls are telling these people.
7. And I also think she wins Iowa. I'm not joking. I truly.
Exactly, Nick. Like, how do you. And this is what I'm saying, right? Is that if you were to just watch polls and then just watch these people, you would think that what they're saying is actually happening. Until you took a step back and watched more independent content creators, you would be able to get a better understanding of what was happening. I'll be honest, right? I'm going to talk for a little bit. I'm going to talk. Now I'm going to give you my political opinion now, right? I'll be honest with you guys. I knew she wasn't going to win, right? I thought it would be close. Remember, I showed you my map. My map kind of looked like... My map was like this. My map was like this. I even gave her that. My map was like this. I figured he would take New Hampshire. He didn't. And I even gave her that. Okay, that's my map, right? What I thought would happen is almost close to what actually happened, right? But I knew she wasn't going to win. I knew she wasn't going to win because we'll come here and I'll look at this overall demographic right here. You're getting 85% of the black vote, right? It was worse with the polls. The polls were actually worse than this. You're getting 85% of the black vote. You're almost practically splitting the Latino vote. So you're splitting the Latino vote with the average, with the advantage going you, but the polls were saying the advantage was going Trump, right? So you're splitting the Latino vote. When it comes to women, again, you only got a 10-point lead with women. As a woman leading on abortion, you're only getting 10%, okay? And the polls were worse than the exit polls, actually. The exit polls are a little bit better. The polls were far worse. All right? Delusion at all-time high. Like, none of us saw the electoral... I knew she was going to lose. Right? Because I know, right, from watching other independent content creators, and based on what they were sharing with what they know, I know that white women right? You see this white women thing right here. White women, they'll talk a lot, they'll talk a big game, but when it comes times to voting, you see how they vote. Okay? You see how they vote. 45 to 53. That's not a big margin. Advantage Trump. 45 to 53. Black women, we already know what black women are going to do. But anyway, white women, 45 to 53. That's that white suburban mom vote that she thought she was going to get. She didn't get. I knew she was going to lose. Looking at the electoral map, right? I knew she was going to lose because I know Trump is going to take Georgia. I know Trump is going to take North Carolina, and we'll make this a toss up. We made it a toss up, right? Look how it is. This is where she's stuck at, right? Look at where she's stuck at. Look just at the electoral map. This is where she's stuck at. She was stuck on 226, right? I know that Trump takes North Carolina and Georgia. All you have to do is take this guy. That's it. She could got all of this. She could have gotten all of these states. I mean, just get all of these Rust Belt states. Get all of that. And all Trump had to do was just get Pennsylvania. That's it. All he had to do was get Pennsylvania. So I knew what was going to happen once I saw him taking Pennsylvania. I didn't think he would sweep them, though. I didn't know he would sweep the shit. A referendum on their delusions. White women smack talk, but they weren't going to vote away, dare I say it, white female privilege. Like, again, like, and the thing is, like, white women do this shit. And if you watch enough content on election, you know white women are not going to give away their rights for the colored people. Like, they're not going to do it. I'm sorry. They'll march in the street, they'll scream, but they're not going to vote away their privilege and give it to the minorities. They're not going to do it. Nick, I did not think he would take Arizona and Nevada. I didn't think that. Like, again, this was the map that I did on the live stream, guys. Right? All I said was, give them that, give them that, give them that. Whatever happens, she can take all that shit and do recounts. All he needed was Pennsylvania. And when he got shot and stood up in Pennsylvania and yelled to the crowd, fight, 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 I said it's over. It's done. It don't matter how long it takes to get to where we are now, it's over. I knew at that point when that happened, it's over. It's over. It's over. It is over. It's over. There's no way them people gonna watch that man almost get his head split and not go to vote for him. It's over. That's it. Once the shooting happened, that's it. They gave him the election. That's it. That is it. These people thought that wouldn't play a factor into it, which is hilarious. Because if you watch enough content, you knew it played a huge factor. But again, let them talk.
I think that this is going to be much more like Obama 08 than 2016 or Obama. You know, the dynamics are closer to an Obama 2012 race because she's basically a new figurehead at the time.
Okay, so let's see if we can look at the Obama race, right? Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I don't know how to do it for Obama, so I don't know the website that lets you look up all the old elections. I can't do it. Okay, so we're not going to do that, right? This is what is actual right here, 312. So it's a landslide.
Top of like a campaign that was set up to run for an incumbent. So there's that infrastructural point, but I almost like I get panicked saying that because I want that to be the.
I am more. I've been thinking for a while it's either going to be like Emma says or a thin Trump victory. I don't think Harris wins by a small margin. I think if she wins, she actually gets more electoral votes than Biden did. But I am even more convinced that the Democrats will hold on to the Senate.
Let's see. Did the Democrats hold on to the Senate? Man, I wish. No, they didn't. Lost by a landslide. When this 34 up for election, I think when this is done, Republicans will probably get 54. I think Republicans, Carrie Lake, too early to call. I think Carrie Lake's gonna lose. So that makes it 53. I think Moreno's gonna win. That's 54. I think Justice won. Let me see, it's too early to go. So we have 52. She's gonna lose that. So that's 53. He's gonna win that. It's 53. So McCormick 54. So we got Senate at 54. Right? What is hell no? And I will take potent, like, yeah, right? Let's look at the House. Right? Getting smashed in the House. Okay? Getting smashed in the House. 19 uncalled races. Okay? Let's look at the margins. We got 209. Okay. We got 209. That doesn't matter, so we'll give it 210 here. We'll give it 211. We'll say 212. We'll say 213. Let's say we'll give it say 214. Right? We got 214, 218 for the majority. I think Republicans take the House too, right? So again, you're wrong. This is what the polls are telling these people, right? If you watch out for people, you know that that's not really what's happening. But anyway. And I don't mean to bang on this content, but I've showed a couple of conservative content already, so I'm just spreading the wealth.
That MSU Billings poll from last week had Tester tied, and Tester is like Teflon a little bit. And there's
the Princeton professor who was here, I think, the day before the.
But he's now, people maybe even voters who are racist, not even a majority or whatever, like have racist views. They don't want to feel like they're racist, right? And that explains some of the Obama to Trump flips, where, the circumstances are different from election to election, but like Donald Trump has made no effort to counter the claims that he's a massive bigot. In fact, they've only amplified in the final weeks of the election. So people don't want to think of themselves as voting for a racist, and you have to give them some semblance of plausible deniability.
Well, exactly.
And he hasn't done that.
I mean, that's the Southern strategy, right? I mean, that's when.
Let's see. How racist did racism affect Donald Trump? Let's see. Donald Trump actually, let's see who. Donald Trump split Latino men and women. Okay? He got a good margin of Latino men, and more women voted for Kamala, right? But that 55% of Latino men was a killer. Okay? Again, and look, let me talk about this for a second. Let me just talk about this. I'm gonna give my political opinion on this right here, right? Let me give my political opinion on this shit right here. We're actually gonna kill the music for this one. If you look at these margins between black women and black men, this shows there's such a disconnect between black men and black women, right? And not with what you think, right? Because overall, black men and black women are pretty much kind of lost in the sauce when it comes to the Democratic thing, right? Because if you look, right, Nobody went over 60% for the Democrats besides black people, right? You got Latino men kind of split. That's kind of a split. Latino women, favored Kamala. White women, this is what's so crazy about looking at this stuff. White women pretty much split down the middle for Kamala and Trump. Latino men split down the middle for Kamala and Trump. All other races split down the middle between Kamala and Trump. The only overwhelming majority for Kamala came from black people, and she lost by a landslide. Now, that's really bad news for black people, right? Because that means that you can make a strategy, and if you get any part of the black vote, some is better than none, because you don't need all of it to win. Because Trump only got 21% of black men and 7% of black women. If you look at it just by race, Trump got 13% of people, 13% of the black vote, and beat Kamala in a landslide. Now listen, I'm not a political pundit. I only started caring about politics for 2016. But I can tell you right now, that's not good. That's not good. It's not good. From my perspective, looking at those numbers, that's not good. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not good. I don't think it's very good. I think it's a problem, right? It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem that almost nearly 100% of women, black women, voted for Kamala Harris. That is a huge problem. That is a huge problem. That means that all of these women that voted believe everything that these people say. Okay? And they're right in line with what these people say. Where's this woman at? That means all these black women think just like
voted
her.
against their reproductive health freedoms, and why do you think Latino men?
Perfect. I'm so glad. God bless you. I'm so glad. This is the perfect clip for me. Thank you. I appreciate your assistance.
Why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their?
Again, uneducated white women, right? Uneducated white women went Trump for 53%. So you're just saying that over 53% of white women are uneducated because they vote for Trump. Hey, listen. It is, if that's how you feel, that's okay, but these uneducated white women show you every election cycle that, barring, woo-woo votes and middle of the night ballot drops, these white women like, listen, we not like, we'll march with you guys, like we'll tweet and we'll post and we'll make our TikToks. When it comes down to vote, we not with y'all. I'm sorry. We not going for that.
Reproductive health freedoms, and why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this race.
Yo, she is, listen, that Sunny woman, yo, she is a nasty woman, yo. That's a nasty woman. Between her and Joy, I don't know what to tell you. That's a nasty woman right there, bro. I mean, for real. That's a real nasty woman, man. And this is why Black America is entrenched in last place. Like, again, like, let's just... I'm just kind of shooting the shit right now, but... like, really look at this, right? Look at the percentage of votes she got from black people. And look at the electoral map. Black. Okay? Look at this. More dim. Look at these percentages. Okay? Look at the demographic in these counties. Overwhelmingly Democratic counties, and Trump still won. Look. Look, let's go to PA. Let's see. Let's go to Philly. Where's Philly at? Where is Philly? Philadelphia County. She got 78% of Philadelphia. Montour. Let's see. Where's Philadelphia? Philadelphia will be right here. Philadelphia. Means all these black people in Philadelphia, y'all all the way up here, and it didn't matter. Look at the majority of the people down here. In these Democratic counties all the way up there. And still lost. Still lost. Right? Still lost. Right? Let's see. Y'all gonna forgive me because I don't know these southern states like that. So I don't know where all the black people at in these southern states. I know Georgia. I know there's a lot of black people with where's Fulton at? I know there's a lot of black people in Fulton. I don't know. I ain't never been to Georgia, so y'all forgive me. Okay, y'all forgive me. I don't know Georgia like that, so y'all forgive me.
Several months, the polls have had everything neck and neck, but last night there was what happened to whose neck got broke? Where did it go?
At the end of a campaign, I'm sick of polls too, and that's my job, right? You get.
I can answer that for you, Whoopi, and I'm not a pollster. Exit polls said that the polls are wrong. Right? Exit polls said the polls are wrong. Exit polls, if you just look at the gender gap, exit polls said your candidate's really not leading by that much of women that like she should be. Exit polls said more men are going to vote for her, and you didn't take all the men votes that you needed to be because you were like men are boo boo heads. Exit polls, the polls said it was one thing, but your candidate lost. Your candidate got swept in the battleground states, especially the major one, Pennsylvania. Well, it looks like a 2-point margin, and it was tied.
Get overload. And look, what the polls were telling us is that this was a very divided country, and it was going to be a close race. And I was telling people this, and it didn't make sense even when I said it sometimes. I said, it's so close, it could be a landslide in either direction.
Right.
Because that's the knife's edge that we're on as a country. And what happened last night is that the country tipped pretty consistently in the same direction. And I'm sitting there, I'm on ABC, working our boards, working the wall.
You were up late.
I'm still up, actually.
Yeah, so were you.
And I'm seeing, okay, well, it's a little redder than it's supposed to be, or that it was going to be. And wow, that blue place, why haven't we called New Jersey yet? Why haven't we called Connecticut yet? Rhode Island? Virginia took forever. And you realize, actually, the country was speaking pretty loudly at the margins, and that's all it takes, because we're so closely goes a long way. And that's what we saw. And I think it was a major statement about the state of the country. This conversation, I think, has been very important because you have to learn from these things.
Right.
No, they're not learning a damn thing. And that's why they're going to lose again in 2028. They haven't learned shit. I'm going to show you why they haven't learned anything.
It's winning so many Latinos in Florida and Republicans flipping seats in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas. But this is a trend that's been percolating for some time, in part because Donald Trump, I believe, and in speaking to a number of Republicans and Democrats, has a unique appeal to Latino voters. Most Latino voters are working class folks. And despite his crude sense of humor, despite the jokes that he makes, despite the exaggerations about his wealth and his exploits, for folks that are from where I'm from and folks that I've grown up around, that resonates more so than
the strong man.
Not just the strong man, but a figure that has succeeded in capitalism, that has wealth that he flaunts, versus the conversation that they hear often from Democrats about Latinx or Latinx. I don't know how to say it. No one where I'm from knows how to say that word. They don't use it. And so in conversations that I've been having with Republican operatives today, they've pointed out that a lot of it just has to do with conversation, the way that conversations are held. And actually, I spoke with one Democrat moments ago, a Latino operative, who said, we need to rethink the way that we talk to folks, specifically Latinos.
You need to rethink how you talk to people. How about that, right? Stop calling people stupid, right? When Whoopi and them chickens on The View talk, all I hear, is blah, 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 womp, 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 right? Yeah, they're not really saying shit. Now, I want to go and show you guys. Come back. I don't want to see no more Sam. Did they? Oh, they're so upset. They didn't even do any content. So these guys right here are so upset. They didn't do any stream today. So they crashed out totally. So they didn't do nothing today.
Yeah.
They took a break today.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, a month ago, 6 weeks ago,
I want to find one more liberal person. I don't know all these liberal content creators like that though. So yeah, I gotta wait a minute. Did the Warriors win? Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. Hold on. I gotta see if the Warriors won. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. We gotta. Did the Warriors win? Come on, X. I know this is so terrible. I'll look that up later. I'm up here looking up the game while I'm trying to stream. I'm terrible. My man Rasmussen. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna give you the inside scoop right here. If you ever want to know really what's going on with the polls, Rasmussen is the only person you need to watch. To be honest with you.
And I just crunched our accuracy numbers, and you are not gonna believe this. They're absolutely wild. They were all off and way off in the Senate races. The pollster's reputation is again in full reverse, and now.
And again, this is how independent content creators and pollsters give you better information than what the media can give you, right? Because I watch this guy all the time, and his information has been spot on, right? And I'm gonna show you why.
Back to their nadir of 2020.
Let me just show him. He pulled up his polls.
Even our polling was too left. But let's talk about the national popular vote. Here are our final crosstabs, and we have Donald Trump 49%, Kamala Harris 46%, 3 points. Now, for most of this race, week after week, recently we've been putting out Donald Trump +2. So the +3 might be a bit of a surprise, but this is a massive sample of data, almost all of our data from October. And we sharpened the pencil a little bit with weightings, made the population a point or two more white, a little bit less black, and shifted the ages around a little bit. And we got Donald Trump +3. You can go demographic by demographic. In my opinion, there's really no answer to compare this to yet, because I looked at the early CNN exit polling, and I think that it's absolute BS, because I've heard reports of some exit polling showing that Donald Trump was getting a quarter of the black vote. But there, it says that Donald Trump only got 12%, which is basically what he got last time out. And we all know the black vote definitely changed this time around. So don't even bother going to CNN and looking at this stuff. That's probably the last time we'll ever go to that site either. But we do have Donald Trump winning among 40 to 64-year-olds by 5, among 65 and older by 4, but losing the 18 to 39-year-old by 2. Listen, that's pretty good. And let me tell you, too, what you probably heard on the media over and over again, like a mantra, is that Donald Trump has a hard ceiling at 47%. No, he's been at 49% this entire time. Turns out Kamala Harris is the one with the ceiling.
And I like the way he gives you the information, because he actually puts it against what the mainstream media has been telling people, right? Because Golden State won, my man, Club Fortune. I don't got all my sound effects, so you get a whoosh. Thank you. So you get a whoosh. Golden State came back and won, my man. All right. Okay, we good now. We good. My man, shout out to Club Fortune. Matter of fact, we gonna get Club Fortune a wrench. Forgive it. Club Fortune gets a wrench for telling me to score. My man, with the assist.
The reason that it came out that way is because all of their polls are bogus. They're leftward leaning.
Exactly.
Always show that Donald Trump has a favorability disadvantage. They always poll Trump deranged Republicans. That's how they do their work. Yeah, we had Hispanics going to Trump.
Nasty work. Nasty work.
I don't know if that's going to hold up. The Hispanic population is pretty hard to poll. And I guess we'll see where independent numbers come out, but we had independents going to Trump by 7. But here's the Real Clear Politics aggregate. And if you look at the trend, this is the shill period right here. Boom. All of a sudden, Trump dropped a point. when Kamala Harris went in the race. It's like everybody gave her a shove to get her over the starting line. And then they massively shift left. They shilled for Harris all fall. And then right at the end, they decided, well, it's time to save our credibility. And Trump, whoop, look at that. All of a sudden, Trump got this great momentum.
And this is why I love Rasmussen, because he shows you and explains how fraudulent the polling industry is, and which is why they're in a shit ton of trouble when it comes for the 2022 general midterms going into 2028, because this election has showed a lot of critical thinking people that the pollsters are full of shite and it's a fraudulent industry. Morgan Stone was going on. The pollster in the industry is fraudulent. But if you don't watch content creators like Rasmussen, he's a pollster, but he also has a YouTube channel. If you don't watch people like this and other independent channels, you would not be able to figure that out. All you would know is that based on the CNN polls and the ABC polls and the Fox News polls, you would only believe what they're telling you. But when you watch independent content creators and podcasters who cover the information from different perspectives, you'll be able to gain greater insight into what's actually going on. So I've watched Rasmussen for a few months now. So I already knew that the polls that people were showing were fraudulent, right? Like, let me highlight my boy real quick, man. I don't want to, I'm not picking on him or nothing, right? But I want to highlight something, right? Where he at? Let me highlight him, right? So I'm cool with him, but I gotta highlight something. Let's see. Okay, let me highlight my guy real quick, man. I'm cool with him, but he crashing out a little bit, just like all the other liberals, right? Expose the manosphere, Aaron Fountain, right? So if you guys remember him, he had the whole manosphere list. He did his report on the manosphere and all that stuff, right? And of course, he's progressive liberal. And the polls that people like him see would cause him to make this comment. My 2024 election prediction: Kamala Harris will win the popular vote and electoral college vote. Trump will declare victory and accuse the election of being rigged. Basically, he won't go away until the election is certified, but lacks the power to influence the process. And listen, I do not argue with people about politics online. I retired from that. I don't argue with people about politics. I read things. I'll nod my head, I'll listen, and I'll move on. But I'm not going to argue with anybody over politics. Knowing what I know about what I have seen over the course of the past few months, and knowing about, and with my understanding of watching how people felt about Kamala with her interviews, I know that shit was not going to happen, right? Yeah, I sent him a message about putting my name on his shit witch hunt. Dude don't know some folks will come see you about being a... Nick was about to deliver a throat punch. Nick, don't throat punch the kid, man. Look. Nick, don't throat punch the kid, man. But knowing what I knew about the politics, knowing what I knew about the polls, I knew that shit wasn't gonna happen. I didn't even comment on this. I knew that wasn't gonna happen, right? That wasn't even close. Kamala Harris lost the popular vote by almost 7 million votes and got swept in the electoral college. But people like, like him that see all these BS polls, I didn't even know he was still here. People who see all these BS polls, right? Like my guy over here, people who see all these BS polls, like right here, will believe that shit. They think that's actually going to happen. And that's how they, and people like this, progressive liberal people, will watch a guy like this and say he's a conservative right-wing pollster when he usually leans to the left of his polls. I think what we experienced with this election was I'm gonna talk. So I never took him serious. Besides, he didn't expose the man. They did this stuff. And again, I'm not okay. I'm weaving. I'm weaving. Let me center my conversation. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So pollsters like those guys will see this information and believe that, and when they see people like this, they'll consider them conservative and right-leaning. So what we experienced with this election was a challenge in a little bit of critical thinking. And if you are susceptible, how susceptible are you to propaganda? Like, how susceptible are you to propaganda, and how unwilling are you to hear different information, right? How unwilling are you to hear different information? Like when it comes to Project 2025, right? You'll watch people like this.
A majority.
Okay, you'll
of
watch
them
people
were...
like this, right? And you'll believe every single aspect of Project 2025 is a detriment. It's going to destroy us. We're going to go into cotton fields, until you actually sit there and actually read through it, right? You just read through it. And then you apply critical thinking based on context of information as it changes over time, and you follow a timeline to come to a conclusion. You're using advanced reasoning and critical thinking, right? So advanced reasoning and critical thinking goes, you see Project 2025, you heard Trump said he liked it. He didn't say he agreed with everything, he just said he liked it because Trump plays within the margins with everything, right? Trump saw that Project 2025 was being used as leverage against him to cost him the election. Trump said, Trump does his, I don't know nothing. Shit, it is what it is with Trump, right? Trump said he don't know nothing about it. That's not his plan. He don't like it. Trump comes up with Project 47, which is his own plan to separate himself from Project 2025. Then that splits the people. So there's the people who don't believe that Project 2025 is separate from Trump. And there's the people who see that Project 2025 is separate from Trump. Granted, some of Project 2025 policies are things that Trump has favored, but not understanding the nuance, Project 2025 from the Heritage Foundation is a conservative, evangelical, right-leaning organization that puts out that same plan every election cycle. And if you don't understand the nuances of Trump's stance on, the baby deletion, his stance is actually opposed to the evangelical conservatives. His stance on the baby issue is opposed to the evangelical conservatives that would favor Project 2025. So now you understand the context and the nuance between Trump and 2025. But if you don't use that level of reasoning and critical thinking and just think about the situation, people like these guys on the screen will tell you Project 2025, and then you'll watch the DNC National Convention where everyone's talking about 2025, And you will think that Project 2025 is going to get implemented day one, and we're gonna lose everything, right? And I've had this conversation with black women. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a conversation right now. Let me tell you. And I'm glad Club Fortune agrees with me. I agree with your approach. I don't argue with these people. I just let what happens happens, and I get to laugh at them. Yeah. So let me So my mentor, his daughter, she reminded me about early voting, right? And I said, thanks for reminding me. So then she asked me who I'm voting for. I'm like, all right. So I kind of tried to get like, oh, I'm voting for the best choice. And she said, who you voting for? I showed her a gif of Trump. And then she said, for real, who are you voting for? I said, I'm voting for Trump. So then she tells me, she asks me why. I'm like, okay. Here we go. So I tell her the reasons why I voted for Trump, like policies on the economy, immigration, ending the wars, so no, we don't send any more people to die in wars, and lower the temperature in the Middle East and Europe to, lower the temperature so we don't have wars. And some of his policies, like his policies for caregivers, is amazing because caregivers don't have a tax credit. No tax on tips for people who are waiters and waitresses and things. Bringing RFK Jr. into the government. If RFK does anything to these bureaucratic health agencies, that's a plus because nothing's been done with them for years, right? So I have actual, like, real things that I actually voted for him, not because he's, Kamala's black. Here comes, but what about Project 2025 and women's access to health care and blah, 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 blah. And I said, listen, Project 2025 is just another plan, or could be a bill. It's a bill that's proposed, like all other bills that have a lot of nonsense in them that never gets put to action and never gets put into play. We have, because a lot of people made fun of people that said Kamala Harris didn't do anything. We have 3 branches of government. We have a Supreme Court, we have executive orders, and we have law and order, okay? As it is dictated in the several manuals of the military, okay? We have a lot of things in place that would prevent people to doing things to the American citizens that is far and beyond what the government would allow. Okay? And we have 3 branches of government for that. Okay, so I'm not worried about any Project 2025. Because we have law and order and executive orders that would stop a rogue president. Okay, so I'm not concerned about that. No response after that. Conversation over. So again, that just kind of goes to show you, what we legislative and judicial. All right. I come from the generation where we learned about that in school. Okay. I know what the fuck 3 branches of governments are. Okay. I also know, right? I also know the vice president has no inherent power. The vice president is a vessel similar to what the president is. The vice president's power is only that of which the president grants. Okay? So if the president says you're the border czar, you're the border czar. And if the Senate committee has a meeting and puts it in writing that Kamala Harris is stated as the border czar, that means that your title federally, legislatively, and judicially, as it pertains to managing the border, your title hereby given on to you from the President of the United States is the border czar. Okay? So if the president says you're the border czar, that's what the fuck you are. So when people say you're the border czar and you didn't do your job, and people talk to you like you're stupid, you explain to them the meeting they had in July with the Senate committee where they put in writing that Kamala Harris as put forth by the President of the United States, Joseph Robin F. Biden, is the border czar. And her job is to manage the border. That's your job. Because people forgot that whole clip where people say do not, when she was saying do not come, that was her doing her job at the border, telling people not to come to the border. And that's all she did. I'm getting into the weeds. But that's just me explaining, like, but this is what we deal with, right? Like, I don't get into the political stuff like that for various reasons, but I know what the fuck I saw. You know, I read the document. Like, I saw the paper. Like, I saw the paperwork. Like, you're the border czar. Like, so when people, matter of fact, let me go here because Aaron Fountain, and so he been kind of, you know, like all progressive, they kind of like crashing out. I can tell who failed civics. So this woman had a tweet that 1.8 million views, and this is what she said: "Bro, Kamala didn't do shit in the last 4 years. Why is y'all trying to give her 4 more years for what? Give her 4 more. Use y'all brains. She put black men in jail over weed and single parents in jail for truancy that were majority black." And here's a typical liberal response: "I can tell who failed civics." Again, okay? This is what we're going to have to deal with going forward in our country, is that people forget information as new information comes in. Because people forget that Biden in the press conference said the woman was the border czar. Okay, he said that. Okay, this is why I just talk about tech, right? Because the elitist liberal thing, like I deal with that in New York. Like the elitist liberal thing, it gets to you. It's like okay, I'm gonna segue one more time. So remember with the COVID, right? Remember with COVID, right? And this is very important, right? Remember with COVID, right? This is how people forget events. When COVID first started, the report came out of the wet market in Wuhan that there was a respiratory virus. It was started from November, actually. It was a respiratory virus in the Wuhan market. They shut the Wuhan market down to try to stop the spread in China. The first case in the East Coast was in Mount Vernon because I live in the Bronx. And they shut down the town in Mount Vernon. As the case started to spread, Trump said to Trump, the virus is the China virus because it came from China. It's a Chinese, or the origin of the virus is in China. It's a Chinese virus. Trump said, let's shut the borders down to China, reduce travel from China. Chinese people can't come to the country no more until we figure out what happened. Chuck Schumer and all the Democrats got on the Senate floor and said that is racist. Donald Trump is a bigot. That's when all the Chinese incidents started to happen, where there was people attacking China because they felt that Trump was inciting violence against Chinese people. We all forgot about the Chinese violence shit that was going on because Trump was saying that these people have this virus and they were doing a bad job in maintaining it and they weren't telling anyone about it. Then the virus comes here, COVID goes into lockdown, warp speed, Trump loses the election, they mandate the vaccine, and we're here. People forget, and then they say in the debates that Trump, and there's people that repeat that now, I hear it on YouTube and I see it on, Trump managed the virus poorly. How did he manage the virus poorly when he wanted to shut the borders down and you people said he couldn't do that because he was racist? And that's how the Asian hate bill became a thing, because Donald Trump was trying to stop the coronavirus. Are you thinking? Okay? Going into the jibby jab was started through warp speed. Kamala Harris and Chuck Schumer were telling people that they're not going to take the jibby jab if Trump is telling them to take the jibby jab because they don't trust Trump. If Dr. Fauci says to take it, they'll trust him, but they don't trust Dr. Fauci. They're not going to trust Trump for the jibby jab. Trump loses. All of a sudden, they trust the jibby jab and they're mandating everyone to take the jibby jab now. Now they're telling you you're an enemy of the people for not taking the jibby jab. Cuomo too. And I'm not a political pundit. I'm not a political guy. But I'm not an idiot either. I'm not a dummy. You see what I'm saying? I'm pretty sharp. Like, I'm not stupid. I remember the series of events that led to us getting to where we are. People forget how much the Democrats were undermining Donald Trump and then use that against him in the election, and people forgot that. I'm not saying he's perfect. What I'm saying is they undermined a lot of things that caused a lot of people pain. Matter of fact, I would say all the people that were dead, that died because of COVID, was because of the Democrats. Because they undermined Trump so much they didn't let him do what he needed to do. Again, Trump got hosed with the whole lockdown thing to trick him into shutting down the economy to make it bad for him to get reelected. But we're not going to get into all of that, right? That's a little bit of semantics, but hello? You forgot? We all forgot? Matter of fact, we all forgot how much Dr. Fauci flipped on the mask. Remember, Dr. Fauci was telling people not to wear masks. Dr. Fauci was telling people at the beginning of the pandemic not to wear masks. He said, don't buy the mask. The health workers need the mask. Don't buy the mask. Masks don't work. All of a sudden now, to this day, people still wear masks. Still to this day, people wear masks. I lost a channel too over the vaccine stuff too. I lost a channel over that. I lost my news channel over that. But yeah, you have mofos that try to SB you into civics but don't know their history. Yeah, like you can't. Like that's why. Like they try to blame you into civics like you stupid. Like you forget history. I remember history. Matter of fact, we talk about the 6th of January, right? I remember watching the 6th of January. I remember watching the cops tell the people to go into the Capitol. I seen the video of the cops telling people to go into the Capitol. I watched the videos of the Antifa protesters dressed up as Trump protesters behind the trees, taking their clothes off because they were camouflaged as Trump protesters to go into the Capitol. I saw the video. I've seen the videos of people telling the cops to do something. The cops are just standing by watching it go down. I seen the tweet of Trump telling the people, "Hey, you guys, go in peace." I've seen the tweet. I saw the video. Still to this day, people say that he was the one that caused it. When he told them to march and let your voices be heard, he didn't say go past the barricades. The cops told the people to go past the barricades. Matter of fact, I saw the cops corralling people into the barricades. I seen black bloc people in the Capitol playing with the fire extinguishers, dressed like Antifa protesters. I don't know Trump protesters that dress in all black. Yeah, like this cop showing people around in the fucking building, bro. Like, come on. Like, I get it, but like, you can't, like, we all not dumb. Like, you don't gotta be a CNN correspondent to know what the fuck you see. Like, I know what I'm looking at. I watched the whole thing happen on C-SPAN. I watched it for the hours of what happened, and I knew it's an op. Matter of fact, I'll say it's an op on both sides because Nancy Pelosi's laptop was never found. They never found her laptop. Matter of fact, I seen the guys with the laptop. They don't want to talk about that, huh? I seen the guys dressed like special ops with I seen the guys dressed like special ops with the laptop rushing past the protesters. Protesters stopped them. The guy told them, "Hey, we're on your side," and the guys left with the laptop in their hands. What happened to the laptops? Nobody know what a laptop is? Hey. Yeah, that laptop is crushed up and they took them storage drives. Matter of fact, I remember watching the inauguration where people looked like they had their hands behind their back being paraded around with U.S. Marshals. I never seen U.S. Marshals escorting people around the Capitol during the inauguration before. Hey, I'm not going to say it, but I seen a lot of weird shit that day. So you're not going to tell me that didn't happen. You can't tell me that there wasn't a video where the marshal told her, don't say anything. Told Pelosi, don't say nothing. Pelosi said, I won't. Why the marshal telling Pelosi not to say anything in the Capitol building? Why they having the inauguration? Huh? Why are U.S. Marshals parading around Nancy Pelosi in the buildings, y'all? Do y'all know that? I seen the video. I had the video on my news channel. I played that video 1,001 times just to figure out what the hell I was looking at. I seen marshals parading everyone around that building during the inauguration. Why? Yeah. Pelosi knew she should have done more. So anyway, I just gave you a series of events of propagandist points that are repeated on mainstream media and that people repeat on social media, that people forget the context and the nuance of what they saw. Okay? And I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I know what I saw and I know what I heard. Okay? I know what I saw, I know what I heard. With me knowing all of that, leading up to the election, I know she wasn't going to win. I know she wasn't going to win. Because I still need people to explain to me. I want to show y'all this picture. This is the funniest picture, y'all. I'm going to show y'all this picture. I want to show y'all this picture. Okay? I want to show you this picture. And I want you to explain to me what I'm looking at. Let me see. I hope I can find this picture. Because every time I think about this, here we go. So I want y'all to explain something to me. So I want y'all to explain something to me, right? Let me see something. And this is the funniest thing ever, right? And I like this picture. This is the weirdest picture, and I've never seen an explanation of this. I want y'all to explain to me, right? I want people to explain to me, why is it that Joe Biden has a square skin tag on his face? I just need an explanation from somebody. Because if you were to go on Getty Images, right here, Getty Images, official Getty Images, and you were to go on Getty Images, and you were to look up the January 2001 9/11 memorial event, right? This is 2021, because you see the mask. Everyone's wearing it. This is 2021. Okay? 2021. This is Joe Biden. And here, on this event, okay, he pulls his mask down. Okay? I know, but I can't say. I'm not saying either. Right? We hypothetically, okay? I would need somebody to answer this simple question. Why is there a square skin tag like he's wearing a mask on his face? All right? Out of all the conspiracies that I have ever seen regarding what's been going on for the past 10 years, I have never seen an explanation to this picture. Because this picture is on Getty Images. And if you were to go to Getty Images and scroll through the September 11th, 2021 event, you will see this picture of Joe Biden a couple of times. And you will see this square skin tag mask. And when I saw this picture, I said that can't be real, bro. That's Photoshop. And I found the actual picture on the actual website. And I stared at the picture for a very long time. And I'm just like, that can't be right. And I'm looking at the picture and I'm staring at it and I'm like, that looks like a mask. And then you ask yourself, wait, so why is he wearing a mask? Out of all the conspiracy theories that have come across my reality in the past 10 years, I have not found an explanation for this one picture. No one's been able to explain that to me. There's one explanation, and we're not going to talk about it. But there's one explanation, and that explanation explains all of this. But it doesn't explain, it explains that. But nothing else explains this picture right there. So when I saw this picture, and I looked at this picture, I said, okay, I don't know what's going on now. I don't know what's going on, right? So with this picture right here, this one picture right here in mind, coming into this little election, I knew she wasn't going to win. I knew she wasn't going to win. Because her winning doesn't prove why I'm seeing this picture right here. But her losing explains everything. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay? I'm going to leave it at that. Nick knows why, but I'm not explaining that. Okay? I'm just going to say letter 17 and leave it at that, okay? So, that's a major tangent. That's a major tangent, right? I went on a major tangent. That's a huge tangent. But yeah, when I saw, I'm not getting into that. But when I saw that picture, I have no idea what's going on now. That's all I felt. When I saw that picture, I have no idea what the hell's going on. But anyway, coming back to my man Rasmussen.
Where'd it come from? Oh, he never lost it. This was all fake, all here, this whole period. And Trump was actually up in the national popular vote. And nobody said, sorry, Rasmussen, for yelling at you guys. Looks like you were right. And actually what happened is all kind of these final calls did a little bit of window dressing for Harris just to paint this little blue